Shalom, shalom. Shalom meaning peace on this Sabbath. Even though we don't know it's a Sabbath, we're going to take one day out of 7 as he did and rested on the 7th day. I'm going to read out of 1 Samuel Rishon. I posted a video earlier where I was on live at a church I attended, and I witnessed Alberta with massive amounts of lineups and cars and people going to vote on Alberta separating from Canada. Now, I'm not into politics, but I am watching the watchers. Hello, Carrie Bond and Joe, blessings, and everyone else in the chat. So one thing about what's happening in Canada is Alberta wants to separate. And so there's enough signatures to do so, but United Nations, DRIP, and in their infinite fudge dodgery, if you want to call it that, or basically they had covered all their bases, allowed the natives self-governance and the right to their own determination. So what they're going to do, like they're doing in America, is pit the natives against the natives have to understand is the natives don't need NATO or the Vatican to give them permission to exist, nor does any living creature need permission from these governments to exist. So that's what their plan is. And what their plan is very simple: divide and conquer, out of order chaos. So they're going to create as much chaos as possible. What you see in America happening right now, in some of these communist sections of America, is they're going to pit these governors and this ICE detention stuff against the people who believe in deportation and keeping their nations sovereign and not have massive immigration and ruin the standards of living by no jobs, no work, and competing with immigrants. And I'm not anti-immigrant. I have friends that are immigrants, and I'm not anti-immigration, but I'm anti-Zionism, and I'm not anti-Semite. I am anti-Talmud, those who worship the Talmud, man-written laws, not Yahweh's laws. Hi, Jen. Long time no see. Oh, you saw it? Awesome. Great. Oh, for sure. Carney's definitely worse. He was brought in by Prince Charles, he's not my king, to destroy our nation. So he was in the backgrounds kind of guiding and directing Trudeau in what to do because he destroyed UK's economy. So that's what they do. They go in there and destroy economies. And Justin Trudeau and Christine Freeland were both communists. They're both part of this an occult. They were both young leaders with World Economic Forum, where Klaus Schwab, the known deviant, and if you that are new to this channel, you could go to another episode of my pictures on my shorts, and you will see Klaus Schwab prancing around in women's lingerie and completely deviant. So one thing you have to wrap your head around is they're all deviant. They're all pro-Zionism and pro-Bolshevik malevolent edicts, if you will. There isn't. What we do have is open borders. Our governments are welcoming them and they're subsidizing all the immigrants. So, for example, if an immigrant comes to Canada, his wage is subsidized and he gets free living for, what is it, 2 years, Sharon? 2 years of free living for immigrants? Something like that. Yeah, you get 2 years free living, no taxes, free rent, free everything, paid by the taxpayers. And then the corporations owned by Vanguard and BlackRock and Wayfair, they're subsidized. So half of their wage is given to the company, and the company is allowed to pay people like Booster Juice or some of these coffee shops $30 an hour to sell coffee. And so there's Canadian citizens and their children can't get a job because they're the wrong color and they're Canadian citizens. Meanwhile, these immigrants get to have all these jobs and subsidized wage, making good money. So this is to bring in this fervor of racism and hate bait and race bait. And so that's what the enemy does all day long. They bring in race bait and hate bait, divide and conquer. This is color revolution taking place all over the world, all at the same time. Hey, Rob, great to see you. Henriette, Nell, blessings while the taxpayers suffer. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, well, I'm sorry to tell you, Laura, but Oliver is doing good, but Wrinkles did pass away. I'm my heart broken. My poor little Wrinkles is gone. He's no longer with us. So I've built a fire outside to thaw out the ground. Once the ground's thawed out, we're going to lay him to rest. He passed away peacefully at night. We woke up in the morning and he's no longer with us. So I'll miss my little buddy, Wrinkles. He didn't make it. And yeah, I'm heartbroken. That's my little friend, my fur baby. Anyway, I'm going to read out of Samuel Richon. I'm reading out of the Sefer. One thing I should mention is Dr. Steve group, Sefer, et Sefer, Alpha and Omega. I'll be reading out of the et Sefer today, and the times and seasons that we're in. And so original Hebrew also is looking at, they read out of the same manuscripts of Paleo Hebrew. And we're trying to find the timeline, but we're not watching for rapture and the arrival of Yeshua. What we're watching is the times and seasons and trying to be the watchman on the wall, blowing the shofar, warning people that danger, the enemy is encroaching and is amongst us and is murdering us, and that the time and the season is at hand of the apocalypse, meaning the unveiling. Yeah, rest in peace, Wrinkles. Thank you, everybody. Yeah. Yeah, my poor little buddy, he did make it. It's heartbreaking. Yeah, it's been one tough battle. So I got a fire going there outside. When the ground's thawed out, probably later on tonight, I'll dig him a hole. Oh, thanks, Red Bricks. Thank you. Yeah, blessings. Hey, Rob. Yeah, awesome, awesome. So, in First Samuel, what's happening here is David prays to Yahweh and says, you know, these heathens, just like now, exactly what's happening now. They come in and took all of their women and children and brought them into slavery. And he's praying to Yahweh, saying, should I go and get these guys? And it's like, to me, that's a no-brainer. If somebody came into my country and kidnapped my children and my wife and took all my belongings, I'd go and get it back. We're not lambs to slaughter. This Zionist Christian edict that was given to us by the Vatican, Vatica meaning the underworld, the unholy Roman Empire that still exists, the beast that was, that isn't, but is alive and well. And this whole idea that we're pacifists and lambs to slaughter is absurd. This hippie Jesus guy born on December 25th doesn't exist. Yeshua is his name, and he wasn't born on December 25th, most likely September 11th. From all the decodes and the malevolent Luciferian devil-worshipping monsters, they love that 9/11 and worship, and usually it's all evil. So in utter blaspheme, when you watch the enemy and how they work, they lie, steal, cheat, and utterly blaspheme everything good, everything that's beautiful and lovely in the world. They turn it upside down and invert it and contort it and mock and scoff us constantly with their malevolence. Having said that, if I was David, and he's one of my heroes along with Job, I would go and get my wife back and my children back and my property back. If you're a thief and you're coming up my alley at 3 a.m, and you have nefarious intent, I'm going to defend myself, my land, my property, my wife, and my belongings. And it says, thou shalt not kill. I believe that is premeditated murder and malevolent behavior, not defending yourself. It's natural to defend yourself. Now, having said that, when I went to this uh, signing where they're asking for signatures for Alberta to separate, I'm no longer, and nor I have been in politics, but I've never believed in the political system because it's selections, not elections, right? Was the Old Testament God? No, pro co Bidanic. I believe he is the same that he was, that he has always been. He hasn't changed, and neither has Halal, Satan. They're very consistent. Our Father, and when he said, "Let there be light in the world," and light was good, I believe that was Yahushua. He was there before and at the beginning of, and will be at the end, the Alpha and the Omega. Hey, Dave, blessings to you. So it is go time. You bet. It's go time, Cameron. There comes a point when you have enough people woke up that we are the light of the world. We inspire those that are a little shy, a little timid, a little not sure of what's going on. So let me just walk through with what's going on, and I'll continue reading out of 1 Samuel. As in 1 Samuel with David, he's literally going through this. What should I do? These heathens are surrounding us and they're killing us and are murdering us. What do we do? We say no and defend ourselves. We stand up, we be righteous, and we speak loud and proud and say, that's evil. That's unacceptable. Now, with the rainbow community, they took that rainbow, that covenant made by Yahuwah, the 7 colors on that rainbow, the 7 menorah sticks, and they bastardized everything. So you have this beautiful menorah candlestick, and they made it a 9 menorah candlestick. You have this beautiful rainbow in the clouds after the deluge, after the flood, and the LGBTQ community turned that rainbow flag into blaspheme. You see the character of the enemy constantly taking everything good and pure and destroying it, including our children. So when I look at what's happening and what's going to happen, we are in the apocalypse. We are in the unveiling. The veil is getting thin and we could see these things. Now, I just saw a picture of Kelly Osbourne, Ozzy Osbourne's daughter, and a video of her mother. And so Sharon calls it Ozempic. Is that what they call it? Ozempic face. But if you notice that they came out with this psychological operation, demon face syndrome. There's this medical condition, this medical disorder that you'll start seeing demon face syndrome, and there's something wrong with you if you see these demons. And I say to you, brothers and sisters, if you're awake and you have eyes to see and ears to hear, you will start seeing these demons for what they are, demons. You will see right through their veil. The veil, the thinning of the veil, the apocalypse meaning the unveiling, the truth being known. Everything that was in secret will be known, and you will see it clearly. Look no further than Hollywood delete Dwayne the Pebble Johnson. I will not call him the Rock. My rock is the one and only rock, the chief cornerstone that they had rejected. Dwayne the Pebble Johnson, the wrestler, the actor, which that's what wrestling is acting, and all your sports are fake. And if you don't believe me, with 36 in the chat and 13 thumbs up, go and subscribe to Adam, a gematria calculator called The Illusion. The Illusion on YouTube, and you will clearly see that all your sports are fake. All of it. Just like fake wrestling. And there's the Dwayne the Pebble Johnson, the actor, pretending to be a wrestler, and he's got the Ozempic face. No, what you're witnessing is the demonia, the demons are starting to creep out, and you could see them clearly. They're not hiding it anymore. Mark Carney said, New World Order. They can't hide it. They have to tell. They follow a script. We follow our Yahweh. We follow the Ruach HaKodesh, the breath of Yahweh within us. Ruach means breath. When he made Adam, Adom, not Edom, Adom, Adomite, Edomite. Edomite is the Nephilim, the Alud, the bloodline of the Canaan, the Canaanites, the ones, the house of Esau that rule this world, out of Ukraine and out of Davos, Switzerland, where the seat of Satan is, where Antiochus was martyred. And it says right in Scripture, I know where your seat is and where Satan dwells. And that is most certainly CERN in Switzerland, in Davos. Now, for those Trumpsters, I was not a Trump supporter, but I read all his books. And I read Robert Kiyosaki and Trump books. And when I was of this world, I realized that, this Trump character, Trump and the red hats, you have to understand that he is a Jesuit as well. He shows his hand signals all the time. They do these hand signals all the time. 666, Build Back Better, the OK, the peering eye. So they're all part of the occult. It's controlled opposition. And there he is. He started off speaking like a lamb, and now he's speaking like a lion. And he's going to say, oh, we can't just let Canada fall into China's hands, with Mark Carney going over to China, doing all these tariff-free contracts with the communist country of China. So there you see their playbook where they're saying, oh no, we're going to have to take Canada and Denmark to save humanity. And our economy's up and our inflation is down. It's all lies. I watch videos every day in America and in Europe and all over the world, and nothing's changed. The prices haven't come down. Prices of food are still astronomical. They're gathering up the homeless. It's illegal to live in your mobile home. They're still using weather warfare. And when the Q PSYOP with this Australian character, Bosini, was asked, why are they still spraying the chemicals in the air and doing chemtrails? Oh, you don't have to worry about that. That's to hide off-world entities from humans so they don't, panic. If they believe that we're living on a spinning ball and that there's planets out there, meaning wanderers, stars, the stars that hold their positions, if they're pushing that narrative of aliens out here to save us, the Galactic Federation or whatever you want to believe in, and you're welcome to believe whatever you want, it doesn't make it real. We are a created being in a created environment, and most certainly the flat earthers and the mathematics and NASA being deceiver in Hebrew is definitely what's at play here. China bad, Russia bad, America good. Founded on Zionism and founded on Freemason Jesuit principles. All of these people are saying, yay Israel, ISIS Ray El, not the people of Israel. Simon becomes Peter, a fisherman becoming a of men. Make no mistake about it, what you're witnessing is this setting of the stage. The whole world's a stage. These people are going to say, we got to take Denmark and we got to take Canada because Russia bad, China bad. There's Mark Carney running to China, doing all these trade deals, flying all over the world, including Davos, on the taxpayers' dime. And all they're doing is aggravating and propagating this fervor for violence. There's going to be a moment in Canadian and American history where they're going to want you to kill each other, and I say stand down. Defend yourself, but stand down. Don't bite the hate bait, the race bait. In Illinois and in some of these other, we call them provinces here in Canada, but these states in America, you have the West Coast, California, bought and paid for. You have New York, bought and paid for. In Canada, you have Toronto and Ontario near the Great Lakes, paid for. Totally infiltrated. And then on the BC, British Columbia, the underworld, the beast, District of Columbia in Washington, you have the British Columbia West Coast bought and paid for. So we're landlocked already. And EB in British Columbia and these prime ministers, I call them crime ministers, here in Canada, they're just playing, they're just doing their theater. They're just propagating this fervor for civil war. Why? Because America and Canada are the last bastions of a well-armed society. So I say stay your ground. Don't be racist. Don't be biting into this theater. It's the two-headed bird. And the two-headed bird says, oh, you're right-wing, you're left-wing, you're Republican, you're Democrat, you're liberal, you're conservative. If you trust any one of these politicians and not Yahuwah Adonai Elohim, you put your trust in man, then you love things in this world, you are worldly. You must step out of the matrix and walk in the spirit, in the ruach, and walk with and see and hear in the spiritual realm, because we wrestle against these principalities and governments in high places. These people are malevolent. You see Katy Perry and his boyfriend, Justin Trudeau, and they both have one thing in common. They're both malevolent. They're both deviant. So all of these people are malevolent and deviant and hang out with each other. They're all fake. They're all part of this Zionism. And this isn't anti-Semite law. This is anti-Zionism. Zionists. Those who say they are Jews and are not and do lie. They are liars, murderers, and deceivers. Now, if it wasn't Benjamin Netanyahu that went into a country and utterly decimated because of a couple terrorist attacks, then I don't know what genocide looks like. But the entire world stood by and allowed that to happen. Very few people were standing up and saying murder is murder. You don't do two evils to make it right. Two wrongs don't make a right. They decimated Palestine, Philistine, uncircumcised heathen, Chaldeans, Celtic. We are Bereans that we would read the Bible. We are Netzraim that we would follow the Nazarene. We still get our hair cut, we still shave our face, but we are followers of that Prince of Peace. We are walking and we are meek, meaning we are in control of our mind, our faculties, our emotions. Yeah, you live. Yeah, yeah. And Dave, you know where to go if things get weird, right? Yeah, Katy Perry is with Justin Trudeau. Yeah, they're boyfriends. And so the astronaut, Katy Perry, I doubt is even a woman. There's a lot of theory and conjecture about this transgenderism, that all of these people are that deviant, you can't even tell them apart anymore. And so with artificial intelligence and this extreme deviancy, we've seen all the Olympic stars do this. We've seen the as above, so below, all the Olympic stars do this. And in my videos, I show all of this plain and very easy to see. Yeah. He is probably that anyway. So Justin Trudeau fought for having tampons in the washrooms. So is he a he or a she? I don't know, nor do I care. But what you do in the bedroom is none of my business. But when you teach 4-year-old children this deviancy, I got a big problem with that. But that's what the evil does. They want to indoctrinate the children. They want to go after the innocent and the young and the old and the homeless and the vulnerable because they're cowards. So the ICE fake shooting of this woman, she was transgender and deviant, and she most certainly is connected to this government and agencies. And the whole thing was a psyop, because once you start looking at Charlie Kirk's assassination and this shooting of the face, shooting this woman got shot in the face, they carried her down the road instead of dropping her on the ground and giving her CPR right there. No medic, no trained professional, and I've taken first aid, emergency first aid. You don't carry a person halfway down the block and then pretend to give her CPR. Sorry. And Charlie Kirk wasn't given CPR or arterial bleed compression. They literally carried him away. It's absurd. These absurdities is no different than Ashley Babbitt getting shot in the neck and no blood coming out, no blood. The guy giving a thumbs up to the guy who shot Ashley Babbitt during the supposed insurrection in the most secure building in America during Trump's speech, and there was supposedly an insurrection and a cell phone blackout, and she was buried instead of Arlington Cemetery at sea like Osama bin Laden. You understand clearly the consistency of the enemy. No autopsy, no near hospital, fake shooter, fake incidents to constantly rival this Christian nationalism, this Christian Zionism. Ray, if you ever went to the Tanakh, out of the Torah, the Old Testament, they would spit on you. They would put you in jail. The ones that say they are Jews and are not but do lie, these Zionists, the ones that worship the Talmud, where you have over 600 mitzvot, man-made laws, will hate you, despise you. Where it says in the Talmud, it's okay to deceive a Christian. It's okay to enslave and rape a Christian woman. If you find something of a Christian, you don't have to return it. That's what the Talmud says in their man-made laws. And then you realize, so that's the Zionism. That's the ones who say they are Jews. Yeah. That's the book they worship. They don't worship this book. They don't worship the Torah. They don't follow the Ten Commandments. He says, my yoke is light. My laws are a pleasure. You want to follow man-made laws? A library, Congress library filled with law? You want to follow the 600 mitzvot made by some rabbi? You want to go back to blood sacrifice and building a third temple? And these Sadducees and Pharisees telling you you can't sit with your husband when you have your period. You can't do this and you can't do that because of man-made law. The Jews, Jewish, out of Judea, were given that name by strangers that were witnessing these people coming out of Judea. And that's where you get the name. There's no such thing. There is no Jew. There is no Gentile. Yeah. Yeah. And she took his house. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And so governments are going to constantly and continually create this environment for civil unrest. When they use weather warfare to demoralize people, when they use these psychological operations to demoralize people, they want to incite violence. They want to say, hey, this is unfair. How come all these immigrants get stuff and we don't? We have trillions of dollars. I don't think very many people understand how much trillions of dollars look like. 10 trillion, a trillion dollars. They're going to keep on make a new number. I don't care. It's all insanity. And so I am saying to all the people that watch my videos, share these videos, continue spreading the word that this is all to deceive all of the nations, that you would believe in such ridiculous coming from, because when you operate in faith and in love and in truth, they have no power over you. They could say, you know what, you're going to die. You're going to starve. The Russians are coming. Oh my goodness, nuclear war is coming. Solar flares coming. We're going to lose power. Don't care. I trust my Father. None of their poison works anymore. So I was at this rally, and devour their own. That's what's coming. They're going to start thinking each other out and ratting each other out, and there's going to be embarrassing moments, and you're going to realize that all of your heroes are zeros. All of what you thought is real is all fake. You have fake news, fake food, fake weather, fake media, fake medicine, fake food, fake preachers. It says in the end times there'll be a certain chosen people, and the chosen people will stand up and speak plainly. You are told from Mount Sinai, from the original Mount Sinai, not the fake Mount Sinai, where they went during the GOP meetings where perpetual balance with nature. Not those ones. The real 10 Commandments written by the finger of Yahweh that reside underneath the crucifixion site of Yeshua HaMashiach, where he bled upon the mercy seat, holding the 10 Commandments in Jeremiah's grotto. It is said that when Ron Wyatt discovered these things and he was asked, when are those 10 Commandments and your videotape going to be revealed to the world? And the answer was, when they bring about the Noahide law. The Noahide law and the blaspheme, then the original 10 Commandments will be brought out by some special chosen person or angel, malak, angelos, messenger of Yahweh, and they will be given to the world once again. And I believe that. And some of the people, like including Dr. Stephen Pidgeon, who gave us this scripture, who's working diligently to transcribe these ancient texts, he does not believe in Ron Wyatt, and some don't. But I say this, it would be a miraculous discovery if we found Noach, and the ark. Well, we found it. But the media is not telling you it's sitting on Mount Ararat, meaning reverse the curse, found in Turkey. That you could, to this very day, this very moment, go and walk and witness and see Noah's Ark. Now, these Zionists, these ones who worship the Talmud, they didn't haul up all of that gopher wood and haul up all of that stuff and build a boat on the mountain only for it to get filled with dirt and then be discovered years later. No, we've got LiDAR and radar pictures of a massive ark on Mount Ararat. There it is. You think the world would be freaking out. But then you have to understand, the Zionists, the devil worshippers, the Freemasons and the Jesuits and the Vatican, they don't want you to know that that exists. There's proof of Yahweh. They don't want to know that you live under a created universe and that there's not spiraling through galaxy. They want you to stay asleep and be slaves. And they don't want you to be saved and see and hear clearly. You're their food. They consume your energy and your children, literally. They worship Baal, Baal worship, aluminum, stuff that Baal. And then when you understand that Baal worship is alive and well, that makes sense because in Bohemian Grove, you've got a statue of Moloch, the owl. Okay. So that's what they're doing in Davos right now, hanging out, murdering and torturing and devouring children while they plan your enslavement. And Yahuwah knows all these things, as I do, as you do. These covenants, these agreements made by those that would see these things clearly and speak plainly, come out of her, my people. Maine, Dave, my brother, when I seen that and seen what they do, I cried 1,000 tears. Never give up, Bible. Never. Yahuwah Adonai Eloheikum. For all those 34 in the room, if you know and you see and understand you were chosen, you were named in the womb and brought to this moment, to this time period, to witness, to speak plainly, to know. And you say, I believe. He called you before you had faith, because where would your faith come from if it wasn't given to you first? I stood there proudly in front of that church and those beautiful people in that church. And as I'm talking to my phone facing me, this one guy come up, and there's always one. "Well, I don't want to hear you." And I'm like, well, don't. The Karens and Darrens of the world. I don't want to hear you. Why are you talking? It's because I can. But there'll always be a demon saying, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that. I'm going to tell on you. I'm going to, in secret or plainly, right to your face, demoralize you and attack you, because they can't stand truth. They cannot stand the word of Yahuwah. They cannot comprehend the light. That's just what they do. And we're blessed. So for those, I say this plainly, there's going to be a famine in the land, not only of food. Get a copy of the Sefer.net. He was asked, Dr. Stephen Pidgeon was asked, when will you finish transcribing these texts and re-correcting the errors that you might have or found in translation? And his answer was, on my last breath. We're still discovering texts and manuscripts and writings and the witnesses of these things that happened that weren't canonized. So woe unto the church, unto the shepherds who had scattered the flocks, that you stopped looking, that you stopped discovering and sharing your knowledge, that you would ask for money to give your knowledge when it was given to you freely. Woe unto you. I'm here as a simple man. I'm a welder, I'm a chef, I got a little farm, I'm barely making it, I'm trying to exist. And when I went to that rally, I seen everybody there in the same boat as me, barely making it. Yeah. Hey, Chucky, you bet. Yes. Let me take his body off the cross so I could put him in my tomb. He was laid in the tomb on the Friday. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So did he raise on the Sunday? Or if he was laid to rest on the Friday, it's Sunday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. And does it matter that we would worship his resurrection? If we don't know his birthday, but we know his death date, how come we can't remember exactly? Yet we know when Caesar Augustus died and when he was born. We know exactly when all of these other monsters, King Cyrus died and lived. We know that these kings are recorded in history when they were born and when they died. But for some reason, we don't have an exact date of his birth and death. How ironic. When the three wise men came upon this king and said, we come to worship the King of the Jews. And this king said unto him, when you find him, let me know so I can worship him as well. That was not his intent. His intent was to stop Bible prophecy. We knew when he lived and died, but we don't know Yeshua HaMashiach's birth date and death date. I say, in humble servitude, when he washed the feet of his disciples, he did not want a religion on that date. He didn't want a religion on his death date. He wanted philosophy to step before him and his persona, that he would understand the message and not the messenger. When John the Baptist says, I must decrease so he can increase, The same is said of those with truth. They seek no praise, they seek no confirmation, and they need no start date or death date to confirm these things that had happened. We walk in faith. Hi, Stephanie. Blessings. Best wishes, Bible Wichapas. May you be blessed this day. When we go forward from this point on, Alberta will go to separate. Iran threatens America with war. If America gets hit with a false flag, black swan event, they're going to blame Iran. They'll wipe Iran right off the map. And the same thing with Canada. They're going to come and try to take Canada and most likely will succeed. And then there's your 10 kingdoms. When I seen these maps that were made back in the 80s, I've seen these maps, these borders weren't there anymore, and the railway lines were going north to south. So that means all of the Americas were one country. Panama Canal, Canada, Denmark, all the way up. This and all those plastic coffins that they found and they showed the whole world, that was also in the making a long time ago. So these FEMA camps, FEMA trains, FEMA coffins are real. And these edicts from the Freemason Albert Pike are real. Donald Trump re-erected the statue of Albert Pike. And he joked saying, the Washington Post says Washington Times Square, that name is racist. How ironic that the Washington Post would say the word Washington is racist. They're mocking and scoffing you. It's amazing. I can't reset my Wi-Fi. I don't have Wi-Fi. But I'm going to end this video now in love and peace. And I want you to know that I'm going to go bury my puppy who passed away. Let me read from Samuel. Now the Philistine fought against Yasharel, and the men of Yasharel fled from before the Philistine, and then fell down slain on Mount Giborah. And the Philistine followed hard upon Saul and upon his sons, and the Philistine slew Yahunan and Avidavi and Machashiel and Shual's sons. And the battle went sore against El-Sal, and the archers hit him, and he was sorely wounded by the archers. Then said Saul unto his armor-bearer, draw your sword and thrust me through therewith, lest these uncircumcised come and thrust me through and abuse me. But the armor-bearer would not, for he was sore afraid. Therefore Saul took a sword and fell upon it. And when his armor-bearer saw that Saul was dead, he fell likewise upon his sword and died with him. So Saul died, and his 3 sons, and his armor-bearer, and his men the same day together. Then the men of Yasharel that were on the other side of the valley, and there were on the other side of the Yarden, the Jordan, saw that the men of Yasharel fled, and that Saul and his sons were dead. They forsook the cities and fled, and the Philistine came and dwelt in them. The Palestine. If you look at the old maps, it's not Israel, it's Palestine. It's always been Palestine. Evil ones. That is, to this day, the land of the evil ones. Mount Hermon, on a 33rd parallel, a NATO base on top of that mountain. To this very day, they reside in the high places, destroying humanity. But their time has come. So be blessed this Shabbat. Be at peace and in love. Alva, blessings. Blessings, everyone. May you all be blessed. A blessing is like an anointing. When you are anointed, there's oil put on you, and that you are given this by Yahuwah, that you see and hear and you understand what's going on. So don't walk in fear. You're not given the spirit of fear. Don't walk in this world and trust these selections, these elections. We participate in this, but we're not of this world. This isn't our home. So I hope this message finds you, and I love all of you. May you be blessed this day.